Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor. Before we get going in the group, there is a very interesting rumor going around that ties into the bombings in Iran by the United States, and it involves crypto, like what the motives might be. We're going to talk about that rumor in the group. We're watching some crazy stuff with this Circle, the IPO that happened, and the way prices are going. It's going nuts. And so I'm going to give you a pretty comprehensive list of the IPOs that are on the runway that everybody is kind of starting to whisper about. And we're going to go over theirs because this, I believe Circle was the Internet of Values Netscape moment. If you were around back during the .com, it's coming. Go to DAIXRP.com if you want to join the group. You can join it. If you'd rather, you could join by joining on YouTube by clicking the join button right back down here, or you can join through the X platform by hitting the subscribe. Before we get going, I keep telling you I've got my crypto. I keep it in a couple of places. Caleb and Brown is one of them, because at Caleb and Brown I get institutional grade custody. I've got all my stuff in institutional grade custody. I know everybody, and you can also have a Caleb and Brown account if you want to have your own custody, if you want to keep it on some wallet on your phone or your hard wallet, you can still open the account and use it to have someone to talk to and to have institutional liquidity when you're ready. But I prefer to use the institutional custody because I'm tired of worrying about if today's the day that some hacker figures out some creative way to hack me. And I don't worry about it with institutional custody. These guys are my affiliate partner. If you want to go to this page on their website, go to XRPwealth589.com and you can click sign up today and get yourself an account. The market's kind of flat right now. XRP is hovering around $1.99 to $2-ish. I'm about ready to back the truck up. I'm hoping that it stays there. I mean, there's all kinds of geopolitical risks. We could have Iran, do some kind of attack or whatever, and that would probably hit the market again. If they do, the digital asset investor is going to go in heavy. I'm trying to position myself so that I'm ready to go in heavy right now. This guy right here I met at XRP Las Vegas. He actually is a very interesting guy. He played football at University of Texas. His name is Stephen McClurg. He's the guy from Canary Capital who has filed for an XRP ETF. I was actually telling him backstage at XRP Las Vegas, I said, man, the best national championship I've ever seen was when Vince Young, who played for Texas, basically won the whole football game against, I think it was against USC, won it by himself, put that whole team on his back. Anyway, here is Stephen McClurg talking XRP.
Anything that's or not everything, but most things that are top 20 we're constructive on. We're very constructive on Bitcoin, but there's a few that we believe that will outperform Bitcoin this year, such as XRP, SWI, and even Sol. More constructive on some of the larger cap cryptocurrencies like SUI and Solano and XRP, even Litecoin and HBAR. I think are going to be have a really good possibilities of making it.
So are you comfortable saying pretty much all of those will have 10% upside?
Oh, I think most of these will double this year.
Yeah, because I mean, if you're going to 120, this is what I'm saying, so it's good to hear. So you think these could double in the 12 months or so?
Yeah, think of Bitcoin like the Dow. It's a little bit boring, but it's going to be a lot safer.
Right.
And it's what you move into if you want to stay in crypto, but have a flight to safety. But some of these other ones are going to have a lot more upside in bull.
I think XRP could 5 or 10 times, but once we get legislation, the lawsuit gone, the ETFs start rolling, I think sky's the limit. Now, speaking of sky's the limit, these Circle shares have come out and they have been going crazy, folks. Remember, Circle IPO'd. I'm telling you, this is the Netscape moment for crypto. It IPO'd at $31, and I think it's gotten as high as like almost $300. So I got some thoughts on that. The first thing is this. John Deaton had put this out. From $5 billion pre-IPO valuation to $62 billion market cap. And I put this out. I said the reaction as Brad Garlinghouse watches the Circle price go nuts. And remember, folks, what's interesting about this, if you think Circle's that valuable, how valuable is Ripple? Remember, Circle, in order to get USDC traction, had to cut a deal with Coinbase so that Coinbase gets cut in on a lot of the money that's being generated from USDC. Ripple doesn't have that problem. And then John Deaton retweeted, says, I know Brad Garlinghouse said Ripple not in a rush to go public. They certainly don't need to raise capital, which is often a primary reason to go public, but timing an IPO is also a big consideration. If Circle can hit a 62 to 75 billion market cap, then Ripple, with nearly 40 billion XRP, currently valued at $2, 80 billion, could certainly hit a $100 billion market cap in this environment. You better believe they're looking at that. Then we had Broker Benchmark raised its Coinbase price target to 421 from 301, and so this is a flurry of, if you think Wall Street is not noticing what's going on right now, think again. These investment banks, I'll guarantee you the phones are ringing. The phones are ringing at all these crypto firms, and I'm sure the crypto firms are calling up the investment banks and wanting to get something in the works. Then Metal All Man made a very good observation. Circle stock's up well over 700% in just 12 trading days since its IPO. Question, who is not surprised that Circle stock is on a rocket? Answer, everyone who attended XRP Las Vegas 2025 conference 6 days before the IPO. Here's Metal All Man.
The most profitable business I have ever seen is the stablecoin business. And if you look at the amount of money that Tether makes, you pay the depositor $0, and then you invest the proceeds, and you don't have all of these people doing banking compliance. So banks have an enormous number of people doing compliance. It's very, very costly. The stablecoin business is the most profitable business I've ever seen, legal or illegal. I mean, it's more profitable than drug dealing.
So now crypto is going to become more popular. Then you had Anthony Pompliano, ex-military intelligence Anthony Pompliano, who has the backing of, the PR Bitcoin machine that is a PSYOP. Now he's jumping in the game. This is he announces a $1 billion merger to launch ProCap Financial, NASDAQ-listed Bitcoin treasury firm, raising $750 million.
Well, today we're announcing
how much of the XRP treasury company is going to be able to raise.
What is the largest initial fundraise for a publicly traded Bitcoin treasury company in history. We've raised over $750 million. It's a $1 billion merger with the Columbus Circle SPAC. And the idea here is we want to really be successful in the financial services sector. And so if you think about this ProCap SPAC, that is a dollar-denominated vehicle to go and do an acquisition. The ProCap Financial is the exact same thing. It's a publicly traded company where we can go and we can acquire Bitcoin. Right. And so I think that is where my entire career has sat. I sit at the intersection between the internet and the Bitcoiners and the institutional world.
Just like Anthony Pompliano said back in 2017, if you think Bitcoin went on a tear, wait till you see XRP. He still knows that, but somebody has told him not to talk about it anymore. They told him as of 2017, right before all the attacks on Ripple and XRP started. These guys are apparently very bullish.
XRP obviously is my largest holding. It represents about actually 50% of my entire portfolio. I've been stacking that about 5 years. And I have that short-term and long-term vision for XRP. In a couple of years, I want to dump a lot of it, but I want to keep some of that for the next 5 or 10 years because I see the potential with remittance payments and moving money around the world in under 5 seconds for a fraction of a penny. And from a technical standpoint, XRP could definitely be worth $100 to $1,000, honestly, in the next 10 years, just depending on obviously how cycles mature. We can't exactly put our finger on timing, but if we look at what Bitcoin's done, what Ethereum's done, how they respect those Fibonacci extensions,
with their regulatory free pass, what they've done
over time.
That's what nobody ever says.
I think that's entirely possible.
Okay, and then we have this. This is an interesting comment right here. War is bullish. What if I told you the war is bullish? On March 20th, 2003, the Iraq war began, and the SPX, which is an S&P 500 index, saw a sizable correction after it had a 35% gain. Same vibes. You can look right here. Panic selling when the war started, and this is what happens after. I think you're going to see the same thing in crypto. And then Jazzy Cooper from Ripple was on talking about Axelar.
On an EVM sidechain, so that'll stand, alongside XRP Ledger. XRP will be the native asset that will be bridged over via Axelar. So thanks for building a great product for that purpose. And back to what you said before about what if you want to customize in this way, the XRPL doesn't have pre-built into it. And so that's where the EVM sidechain comes in. But the way that we're thinking about it, at least from a Ripple perspective, this will be a public chain. Anyone can build on it, whatever and however they want to. But from a Ripple perspective, we're really trying to test the waters with Axelar, general message passing, and see how we can use the EVM sidechain as sort of a back end for XRPL mainnet applications. So we have a partner that's building a lending application, for example, where their contracts are in the EVM sidechain. But from a user perspective, we don't want to stop the momentum of a decade of users and liquidity building up on XRPL. So, this application, say I want to deposit it to the protocol, will be available from an XRPL mainnet wallet. And so the user's not even aware that their funds are being, siphoned over the EVM sidechain, and that's actually where the smart contracts are. And a lot of that is thanks to Axelar technology and GMP. So I don't know if you want to give a little bit of context on what GMP is and how that works in case folks aren't familiar.
So it says the XRPL just leveled up. Folks, XRP is about to level up. We're about to get yield. It is on like Donkey Kong when we get yield. The digital asset investor is not selling any XRP. If they all of a sudden give me a good yield, I'm going to have to really think about it before I even take an exit. If I even think about taking an exit. Because I can't even describe to you how nice that will be. Some of the yields that I've heard being thrown around are crazy too. Then that's really going to be tough for me to sell. Okay, I'm going to go into the group. DAIXRP.com is the Patreon. Click join below any of my YouTube videos if you'd rather join through YouTube, or just hit the subscribe button on my X profile and you can join through there. So we're going to go on in there. We're going to go down the list of all the IPOs or acquisitions that are on the horizon, and then I'm going to show you this crypto rumor that's going around about that Iran bombing. This one's pretty fascinating. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends and family that all that we've ever waited for in crypto has arrived. That doesn't mean it's not going to be a bumpy ride, but it's going to be a fun ride in my opinion. Here we go.